Joining me now to examine the unconstitutional and anti-American actions of the Obama appointee, we're joined tonight by Chris Farrell, Director of Investigations and Research for Judicial Watch, and Fox News legal analyst Gregg Jarrett. Good to have you both here, and let me start, Chris, with you, if I may. This is quite something to watch. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau become a plaything for the left. Why is this even an issue that the president doesn't have the power to appoint the head of an agency?
It's not an issue. It's a publicity stunt. This is the left lashing out at the president.
Lashing out? This is pitiful. This is weak. This is effete. This is silly.
They're running into a federal courtroom making ridiculous claims that no one buys. But this is just, it's acting out. It's a precocious, tempestuous child stamping its feet. And, Ms. English belongs in the same boat as Sally Yates. Perhaps they can spend Christmas together.
Well,
I mean, this is the sort of subversion of the Constitution that the left revels in.
Yeah, they may revel in it, but this administration, Gregg, why not fire this woman, get her the hell out of there, and be done with it?
It's exactly what they should have done. Her lawsuit is wholly without merit. This is a legal no-brainer. If you put it on a bar exam, the students would get 100% on it. The president, under Article 2 of the Constitution, has the unfettered power and authority to appoint the head of each and every executive branch agency.
What's going on with this administration? Because this is starting to look like an attempt to establish weakness rather than strength at a time when this president is being assailed from every quarter by the deep state, the Democratic Party, and, of course, the Republican establishment.
I don't know what's going into his thinking. Maybe he wants a federal judge who is considering it tonight to weigh in on this first, but he has the power and authority to hire and fire anybody of the 4 million executive branch employees. That includes the armed services, each and every one of them. He is the boss.
He is the boss, but I have to say, Chris, we're looking at right now a president who has a Justice Department that is, it's gone rogue. I mean, it is in absolute disarray. It's unlikely that anyone can predict the direction it's going to take, or its leader, the Attorney General, going to engage on any issue that I can think of. I've never seen the likes of it.
There's two practical problems. Number one, the president, for whatever reason, decided to stoop to conquer, right? He joined the argument, which is an error. He should have simply shut down the operations of the Bureau. I mean, to give you an idea of how bad the CFPB is, just for a moment as an illustration, imagine HUD on crack. I mean, this is the kind of operation we have. It's unconstitutional.
That is one of the ugliest images that you have come up with in our long association and friendship, I must say, Chris.
It also happens to be accurate. The sad thing is that they've turned banks into utilities, and they've done everything they possibly can to, in some way, suppress capitalism. I mean, that's what this is all about. Remember, CFPB is the brainchild of Senator Warren. Right. This is something that FDR could have only dreamed of.
Yeah, only dreamed of. A nightmare for so many. But we're also confronted with some practical issues, and amongst them now we learn the FBI did not inform, in one instance, the victims and the intended victims of Russian hacking, some 2,300 of them, who were being targeted by Russian hackers. And there is no explanation as to why, other than there were so many of them, lamented and attempted to excuse, said the FBI.
It is inexcusable, it's unconscionable, it's unethical.
Is it collusion? Do you think there's something wrong here that has some substance and an inappropriate relationship between our FBI leaders And Russia?
Well, I do think there's collusion between Comey and Mueller to force the president out and overturn an election, and that may extend to those in the FBI.
Then why the hell don't we, Chris, get an investigation of the FBI leadership now? Because this is at the very best. This is idiocy and ignorance on the part of a leadership in the FBI that has already shown itself to be historically idiotic and ignorant.
Well, someone made a decision, and that decision is documented. This is not, an error of oversight or omission. Some FBI official somewhere made the decision not to notify these persons and corporations who were the subject of this Russian attack. That person needs to be identified and named. Judicial Watch is pursuing its own avenues. Just in the last week, we've uncovered yet more McCabe-related documents. We're pursuing this as well. Mm-hmm. And anything we get, obviously, we'll make public. But there's a larger systemic question here. Someone made an affirmative decision not to inform these entities who were being attacked by the Russians. Who was that official?
And, well, we know one official, and that's the President of the United States, who
Obama certainly was asleep at the switch.
I'm sorry?
I was going to say the President obviously was asleep at the switch. Obama did nothing when he
comes
had
a
knowledge.
time when, Chris, we've got to be honest about this, and I think it's far past the time where everyone in the national media, everyone, should be acknowledging there are too many instances where President Obama was asleep at the switch, who did not do something that he was required to do, who was passive when action was required. And if the President of the United States now is being investigated for collusion with the Russians, why the hell isn't Obama, who did nothing in the face of the takeover of Crimea, incursions against the Ukraine, turning $150 billion over the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world?
Remember
what is
Benghazi.
this madness?
Well, and President Obama is also the individual who championed the sale of 20% of America's uranium assets, a vital national security asset, to the Russians with, I have to assume he knew about the underlying racketeering scheme by the Russians, which...
You think his buddy Eric Holder might have mentioned it over a drink somewhere?
I think we need to get a hold of the daily briefings and to find out what the president knew, when he knew it, and why he took no action to stop it.
And please remember that he was also AWOL on Benghazi, and Judicial Watch will never let go of that.